We do want to start with what the nation is talking about, our live team coverage on the historic arraignment of former President Donald Trump, the first former president to face federal criminal charges.
And our co-anchor Stephen Graves and reporter Caleb Califano, they're live outside the Miami Federal Courthouse this morning, where Trump is expected to appear in court for the very first time. And then our Josie Carbonari live in Doral, where the former president is staying right now.
We want to start with our co-anchor Stephen Graves. And Stephen, Trump supporters have been outside the courthouse for the last 4 hours or so.
Nathalie, and we're seeing a lot of security as well. Just a few steps aside from me, police officers lined up standing here, security as well. Cars are around the perimeter here of the Miami Federal Courthouse. We're going to get to that in a second, but let's really just break down the historic moment here. June 13th, a former president being indicted on those federal charges. That is now less than about 10 hours away from happening. Right now, very quiet here inside the courthouse. You can see some police tape blocking off the immediate perimeter there. So a lot is going to play out here today. Let's walk you through how this is really going to happen at the federal courthouse. So Trump's arraignment, that hearing expected to happen at 3 this afternoon. We are learning that no cameras will be allowed inside that courtroom. So it's unlikely we'll see any pictures or videos coming out of the courtroom. The former president says when he gets in there, he will plead not guilty to all 37 charges related to that alleged mishandling of classified documents after leaving the White House. Of course, that 49-page indictment saying Trump carelessly stored those documents containing national defense secrets right on Palm Beach in his Mar-a-Lago resort in boxes in a ballroom, bedroom, even bathroom. We saw pictures of that in the indictment. It also says Trump suggested at one point his attorney hide or destroy the document. Throughout this, he has insisted he has done nothing wrong and that he is innocent throughout all of this. Back out here at the courthouse, we know right now that again, inside the courthouse, we're not going to see him. Even outside right now, there's a no-fly zone in downtown Miami, so we most likely won't get that view of overhead as he's coming in. We know there's going to be an underground tunnel where he's going to be ushered into the federal courthouse as well, so we won't see him then. He's going to be processed, though, as a criminal defendant here at the courthouse. He'll most likely be fingerprinted as well. Again, all of that happening inside a little later here at 3, but back to that security outside. It is tight here as crowds are expected now to reach in the thousands. That's why I want to bring in our Caleb Califano, who is also standing by here at the federal courthouse to break that down. Good morning, Caleb.
Stephen, good morning. And as you said, even if we don't see the president at all, the former president at all, even with his presence inside the federal courthouse behind me, there is going to be a large security presence. It's going to be tight. We've already seen a lot of security walking around the courthouse grounds this morning. They've even set up these barriers you can see right behind me. These are all around the front of the courthouse, very different compared to last week. So they have been hard at work for the past few days, setting really all of this up, setting up the blockades, the police tape, as I just said. It's an extremely large response due to a situation like this never happening before. Multiple counties, state, and federal agencies have all convened to this one building to make sure everything runs smoothly, all of it from a top-down level. Miami Police Chief Manuel Morales says for the most important decisions, they'll be operating out of a control room.
All the individuals that are able to make any type of significant decision that impacts the deployment of resources or the shifting of strategies and techniques that we're going to be using to keep the city safe will be in the same room.
Now, we are also expected to see a number of rallies planned today, many is starting as early as this morning. Miami Mayor Francis Suarez says it's in people's rights to protest, but he wants to see it kept peaceful. Again, Trump is expected to make his way to the federal courthouse here in Miami later this afternoon at 3 o'clock. And talking to law enforcement, they tell us when it comes to different things like road closures and detours, it all depends on how large the rallies and demonstrations later today actually get. For now, we're live in Miami. Caleb Califano, WPBF 25 News.
Caleb, thank you so much. And right now we know the former president is at his resort in Doral. Yesterday we saw many supporters coming out there. We also know he is calling for more supporters to be there this morning. That's where we find our Josie Carbonari breaking down what is happening there. Good morning, Josie.
Well, good morning, Stephen. So things are quiet right now here at Trump National in Doral, but we are expecting that to change as the sun comes up. We're expecting to see a large group of supporters out here, just as we saw in the last 24 hours. But also local police, they're going to be monitoring potential gatherings of far-right extremists, so security is ramped up. Just yesterday, supporters of former President Donald Trump, they were here as he made his way inside his residence at Trump National, many telling us they believe the indictment, which is related to his handling of classified documents after he left office, is unjust and an attempt by Trump's political opponents to derail his re-election campaign.
Let's be real, they all are crooks, really, if you ask me, you know, and now they're trying to tarnish the front runner to make the election better, easier for them.
And yesterday, we also saw counter-protesters outside of Trump National in Doral voicing their disapproval for the former president and supporting the charges being brought against him. We are expecting to see, again, more supporters as the sun comes up. Many of them are going to be coming from Doral, going to the Miami courthouse. Reporting live from Doral, I'm Josie Carbonari, WPBF 25 News.
Josie, thank you so much. And again, just breaking down the history here, this is the first time any current or former president will face federal charges. Trump, as well, is first time facing those federal charges. We know he is facing state charges in New York. Remember that in April, Trump pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records over hush money payments he's accused of making to adult film star Stormy Daniels. A trial date set for March of next year in that case. And you've probably been hearing about other cases of classified documents being found at some high-profile homes, including President Joe Biden and former Vice President Mike Pence, both running for president in 2024 again as well. Their cases have been under investigation to see if they mishandled classified documents. The paperwork found in Washington, D.C. at an office in Biden's home, Delaware home, and the Justice Department, they're still investigating that case. Documents also found in Pence's Indiana home, but we know that investigation actually just wrapped up. The DOJ said they do not plan on charging Pence. Well, legal experts we spoke to here, a little bit more detail on what's going to happen here. They do not expect this hearing to take as long as what we saw in New York. They're expecting here to take about 15 minutes. Again, Trump will appear before the judge on the 13th floor here in the federal courthouse, out of public view. So we won't see that. We know once all of this is over, though, the former president expected to go back to New Jersey at his golf club and hold another rally there, another campaign event, because again, he has said that he will continue his campaign even if he is convicted in this. So our coverage continues on our free WPBF 25 mobile app. You can find a full breakdown of everything we just talked about. If you want to read that full 49-page indictment, it is also there. And we're going to be out here throughout the morning, checking in with you again at 6:30 as people start to come out here and as we anticipate Trump's arrival. For now, live here outside the Miami Federal Courthouse, I'll send it back to you, Aaron and Nathalie.
All right, Stephen, thank you so much.